We're back. Wait, let me just do something real quick. This fight isn't even over. I'm just watching Tyson Fury versus this whole Dillian, no, not Dillian White. Tyson Fury versus Chris Oro, where the fuck his name is. Can't pronounce his name. But that's irrelevant. Let's get into the main topic of the video, Deji. Now, Deji is someone who I personally just don't like because he chats so much shit but never backs it up. Like, he chats so much shit but never backs it up. I'm going to give you reasons why I do not like Deji. Now, the main reason why I don't like Deji is because he's done things that are just terrible. Like, terrible things. And it's funny how Andreas Lafrazia 2 Dumb criticizes Jake Paul for basically being a bad person, but there's people like Deji who have done some pretty shitty things as well. And I feel like he doesn't really bring those things up, and he likes to do it with Jake. He always brings up Jake's past, but he never brings up Deji or KSI's past, which I feel like is just, yeah. I feel like that's just not good. I feel like that's just not good at all. Because I personally think, like, Deji is just, he's an idiot. Like, he's not a good, like, he's just an idiot. Like, I've lost so much respect for him this past year because all he does is just talk. He doesn't back it up. All he does is just talk. He is a coward. He runs away from fights. Andreas Lafrazia 2 Dumb criticizes Jake Paul for running away from. Let's start again. Andreas Lafrazia 2 Dumb criticizes Jake Paul for fucking running away from fights. Yet doesn't criticize Deji or KSI for running away from the big fights, like the fights that we want. Like, he says, oh, Jake Paul runs away from the fights that we won. Yet Deji and KSI ran away. Like, especially Deji. Like, Deji very well, like, clearly ducked Taylor Holder in 2021. He clearly ducked Taylor Holder in June of 2021 when the fight was announced. Like, the whole TikToks and YouTubes. Like, he did not need to fight Vinny Hacker. Like, he could have fought Taylor Holder. Like, Taylor Holder, like, it was literally, like, Fuzi even exposed this in the press conference, that they literally offered Taylor Holder to fight Deji, but then Deji turned it down and decided to fight Vinny Hacker. Someone who's never boxed before, has only been training for 3 months for this fight, and has never boxed before, is skinny as hell, 18 years old, and they were clearly in completely different weight classes, and the fact that Deji lost that fight is actually crazy, because he lost to someone who's completely undersized, weighs like 20 pounds less than you. Like, that's crazy. And yeah, so Deji is someone who's run away from fights. He ran away from Taylor Holder. Like, again, I'll repeat myself. Like, FuziTube literally off the whole social gloves thing. They literally offered Taylor Holder to fight Deji, but Deji, being the pussy and bitch that he is, decided to turn it down and fight someone like who's never boxed before. Like, literally never boxed before. Like, at least with Taylor Holder, he sparred with Jake Paul. That was like probably his like only like boxing footage, but that was when Jake Paul was fighting Gib. See, I did my research. I know what I do my research. So that was when Jake Paul was fighting Gib. That Taylor Holder, like, I guess, I don't know. I don't really know too much about him. I'm gonna assume that was the first time he started boxing, when he sparred Jake Paul, when Jake Paul was training, when Jake Paul was training to fight Gib, which means he's been training for which means Taylor Holder was training for a year. So you don't think fighting someone who's been training for a year would be better than fighting someone who's only been training for like 2 or 3 months? Like, where's the logic? Like, people don't criticize Deji as much as they do for Jake for ducking people. Deji clearly ducked Taylor Holder. They literally offered him to fight Taylor Holder, and he turned it down because he's just a bitch, and he decided to go for Vinny Hacker, someone who's never boxed before, only had 2-3 months of training, and instead of fighting someone who has got some training experience and has fighting experience and has been boxing, he sparred Jake Paul for the Gib fight, for the Jake Paul versus Anison Gib fight. He was sparring Jake Paul, and he low-key gave Jake Paul not a tough time. He still lost, but he still sparred him. And, you know, I feel like Deji fighting Taylor Holder would have been way better and a way better storyline, because we all know Deji wanted to fight Jake so bad. Like, he was begging for that rematch. Like, he really, like, he was like, oh, I want to rematch Jake Paul. I think I'd beat him. And it's all this shit. Like, Deji was begging for a rematch with Jake Paul. Like, he was on Jake Paul's nuts for that rematch. Like, literally. And I feel like the only way he could get Jake Paul's, like, attention was to fight Taylor Holder, because Jake Paul literally sparred him, like, a year prior when he was fighting Gibb. So fight Taylor Holder, so then when Jake Paul watches the fight, he'll be like, whoa. It just be, like, if you beat Taylor Holder, you get so much respect from the community. Like, Jake Paul would be looking at it like, okay, let's fight. Like, I'm interested. Like, that would have been his best redemption arc ever if he won that fight, which I don't think he would have. At the time, he definitely would not have won that fight. I think Taylor Holder would have massacred him at the time. But if he did, let's just say if he did win the fight at the time, he would gain so much respect. He would gain, like, that would be an amazing redemption arc. Like, you lose to Jake Paul, and then you fight one of his sparring partners. Like, that would be an amazing storyline, because you beat his sparring partners, and then, like, that would have been amazing. But no, being the duck he is, decided to fight Vinny Hacker, lost to him, which is crazy that he lost to someone who's undersized and has only been training for like 3 months. Then he fought Alex Wasabi. Now, this was supposed to be Deji's easy fight. Like, we all knew that Alex Wasabi was like a bum. Like, he lost to Fuzi Tube, who's like the worst YouTube boxer. Like, he got knocked out by Fuzi Tube, he's the worst YouTube boxer. So if you get knocked out by Fuzi Tube, he's the worst. If you get knocked out by Fuzi Tube, he's the worst YouTube boxer. That just makes you like the worst YouTube boxer, because you just not like, that doesn't even make you a boxer. Like, you should not even be on a tier list if you're gonna lose to Fuzi Tube, who's like the worst. So if you lose to Fuzi Tube, you're like, you don't even deserve to be on the tier list. If you lose to Fuzi Tube in a sparring match, you don't deserve to be on the tier list. 7 minutes. I don't want to make this too long. So yeah, that's just my little rant. So he ran away from Taylor Holder, which at the time would have been a great fight. He ran away from Jake Paul. He ran away from Gibb. He ran away from Slim. He ran away from so many people. Like, Jake Paul, when Jake Paul called out Deji in December of 2018 to spar him, he didn't even want to rematch him. Didn't want to fight him. He just wanted to spar him, like a little spar, because Deji was literally in America at the time when Jake Paul called him out in December of 2018, and Deji, being the bitch he is, decided to turn it down. Literally, he was literally in America at the time, and Jake Paul lives in America. So, well, at the time he lives in America, because now he lives in like Puerto Rico, wherever it is. So that would have been like, you could have sparred him. You could have, like, Deji is such a duck. He ducks people. He runs away from the fights that we won. He ran away from Taylor Holder. He ran away from Gibb. He ran away from Slim. And people will be like, yeah, but Slim's not relevant. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, listen, for me, I like watching competitive fights. I don't like watching cherry picks. I like watching competitive fights. And people will be like, yeah, but the reason why Deji fought Vinny Hacker was because it was a warm-up fight. But like, Deji, for the past year, has been talking so much shit. It's ridiculous. Like, he's been fucking making dumb videos saying, oh, I'm the best YouTube boxer, and hitting the bag, and, you know, like, doing all this, making all these dumb videos, and never ever backing it up. Like, he's always talked. Well, at the time, he was always talking, but he was never backing it up. And in the Jake Paul camp, he was talking the talk, but never backed it up. In the Vinny Hacker camp, he was also talking the talk, but never backed it up. In the Alex Wasabi camp, once again, he was talking the talk during like the press conferences and making videos, like these videos, like the trailer where he's like, oh, I'm gonna knock you out, all this stuff. It's like, you're not backing it up, so how can we believe that? I mean, you lost to Vinny Hacker, who's like a TikToker and is completely undersized. Like, there was clearly a massive weight difference between you guys. Like, you're not sick, Deji. Like, you couldn't even beat Vinny Hacker, who's 18 years old, skinny as hell, completely undersized, like in completely different weight classes. Like, you couldn't even beat an 18-year-old skinny ass little kid. And then you fought fucking Alex Wasabi. It's like, Deji, if you lose to Alex like that's bad, because you lost to someone who got knocked out by Fuzi Tube, who's like the worst of the worst YouTube boxer, like, ever. Like, he's probably worse than NNA Production. No, he's not worse than NNA Productions. NNA Productions is like a bro. NNA Productions is a joke. Like, he is just a joke. Like, he doesn't even deserve to be on a YouTube boxing tier list. He doesn't deserve to be known as a YouTube boxer. He doesn't deserve to be on that level. He deserves to just not be on a YouTube boxing tier list because he's so bad. It's a joke. Like, Slim is no, not Slim. NNA Productions is so bad. Like, he does not deserve to be on a YouTube boxing tier list. He doesn't deserve to be on any fucking tier list. He doesn't deserve to be on. And he doesn't deserve to be known as a boxer. He doesn't deserve to be known as a YouTube boxer. He doesn't deserve to be known as a boxer. He should not be boxing. I recommend he stays clear away from. Like, he should not be getting in the ring right now. He should not be fighting. He doesn't deserve to be in the ring because he's that bad. I mean, that's how bad he is. Literally, 10 minutes. Alright, so I've just explained how much of a duck Deji is. Let's move on. Let's go into the reasons why I don't like Deji personally. Now, he's done some terrible things, and I'm gonna name you some. He's botted subs. He milked his dog Tank, whatever he was, being like seized and taken away from the police. Like, at the time when his dog had got taken away by the police, he was literally making like a shit ton of videos milking the entire city. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, it's like, Digi, how many damn videos you need to make on your fucking dog being taken away by the police? Like, how many videos you need to make? And he was making videos, you know, being a bit of a dick to his neighbors, talking shit, saying, oh, you're such a shit, and all this. It was so foul what he was saying in those videos. I mean, maybe if that stuff was true, I guess you have the right to be mad, but like, I just don't like how the way he was making all those videos, milking it, like making like so many videos about making so many videos about the situation. Like, I feel like stuff like that should be private. Like, I don't think you should really share that on the internet, especially the way you did. Like, you shared it so many times. Like, you were making a shit ton of videos about the situation. You were making a whole fucking series on a fucking dog being taken away by the police. Like, how do you do that? How do you make a whole fucking series about your fucking dog? Like, it's crazy how much he milked his dog being taken away from the police. And then he botted subs, which is like his biggest controversy yet. Well, it did come out that it wasn't really him who botted subs. It was more of his parents. But then still, how are you gonna fucking get mad at Kavos and start suing him instead of coming out telling the truth that, oh, my parents were the ones who botted subs and all this stuff? It's like, that's what you should have done, not fucking like suing Kavos and being so fucking like, don't be that much of a coward. Like, you very well knew that it was your parents who botted subs, so you should own up, tell the camera, like, fucking open up your camera and say, guys, it was actually my mum and dad who did it. And then maybe people would believe you, because it's like, okay, I guess that's somewhat believable, because I mean, they are close to you, so it would make sense if they botted subs. But that's what he should have done. But he didn't. He decided to just sue Kavos, make his life hell. Like, I don't even like Kavos. I don't like Kavos at all. But sometimes I just have to agree with him, because he does say some dumb stuff, but he also says some logic. He also says some smart things, and I have to disagree. I have to agree with him sometimes, because yeah. So he bought subs. He well, it wasn't him, but yeah. So the whole sub-botting situation, him milking his dog being taken away by the police, also a clip from 2015 from one of his old Q&As, basically a fan who was maybe Indian was was just having a bit of banter with Deji, and Deji, being Deji, decided to make a little joke about his skin color and be like, yo Vic, what are you on about? Like, and that's just so disgusting. Like, you're literally that's blatant racism. Like, you just called one of your fans who's like Indian or Chinese, whatever, and you were like, oh, yo Vic, like, because obviously Vic is, you know, Chinese and stuff like that, so or Indian. I don't know, I think he's Chinese or Indian. Yeah, so that's very disgusting what he said in that video. I literally watched it and oh my god, that was disgusting what he said. And he was very cruel to one of his ex-girlfriends that he met in 2014, 2015. They met at a club and then they went home, they smashed, and apparently the next day Deji had was sick, had a cold or whatever, and he literally decided, just instead of like talking to the girl and like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but maybe I might have chlamydia, but decided to fucking text this girl and be like, and just be basically a jerk to her and basically curse her out and all this stuff is like that's just that's so evil. Like, how can you talk to a girl like that? Like, that's so evil. How you can curse her out when it wasn't even her fault. Like, yeah, that's just, yeah. And then, yeah, that's it. And then he also made the whole, like, milking, like, the whole COVID situation when he, like, now, I'm not saying that he did, like, I'm not saying he was lying about having COVID. He might have had, well, he didn't, I don't know, he might have had COVID, he might not have had COVID. I'm not going to question whether he thought he had COVID or, like, I'm sure he thought he had COVID. Like, I'm sure he was like, oh, what if I do have COVID? Like, I'm sure Deji was thinking, what if I do have COVID? Like, I'm not going to question that, because I personally thought, like, 2 years ago in 2020, when the virus, like, nobody really knew about the virus, like, when it first came out in 2020, and I felt like I had it because I was, like, coughing, like, a lot. Like, I was coughing. It was like a normal cough. It was, like, dry, like, like, that sort of cough, and I was just like, what if I have this shit? Like, I was generally thinking that I had the virus. So I can agree with Deji if he generally thought he had the virus, but the way he, like, handled it, like, the making videos, it just seemed a little fishy how the video where he made when he was, like, his voice was, like, so, like, fucked up, like, he was, like, so his voice was so, like, and then the next video his voice is like, yo, hey guys, how short game, like, it just seemed a bit fishy, like, yeah. Yeah, so that's about, wait, how long I've been streaming for? Yeah, I don't want to stream for that long. That's basically Deji in a summary. So yeah, Andrea's Lafrazia 2.0. That's just the way I feel about Deji. And yeah, next time, peace.